It is DJ Football. He is the NFL Network's Daniel Jeremiah. I am Ryan Brown. We are presented each week by MyBookie.ag. Code next round when you sign up at MyBookie.ag to get that special sign-on bonus with your initial deposit. MyBookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.ag. Don't forget code next round. DJ, what is up? How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I was looking at, although I was looking at the baseball playoff schedule, I couldn't find where my Padres are playing. I don't know if you've seen that yet, or
No,
maybe they get a bye. Did they get a bye at the first round?
Yeah,
No?
I think the next games they will play are in the Cactus League. Are they still? Do they still do spring in Arizona? Okay,
Peoria. There you go.
Peoria. Yeah, I think the next games they play will be in late February, early March. If you want to find them on your schedule there.
Other than that, I'm doing great, man. Other than that, I'm doing great. Good football weekend.
It is a good football weekend. Hey, it's so odd that doing your Chargers games, you got another one-score game there that came down to basically the final play. I mean, do you ever see that?
Yeah, it's 24-7, and I even though I should never. I looked at Matt and I said, Matt, is this? We actually get a blowout? Like, he's like, stop.
No.
Of course not. Last possession every week.
Yeah, last possession every week. But, hey, an exciting play to finish. I mean, 3rd and 10, pinned down, and why not just throw it deep, right, and see what happens? They get the first down and end the game.
Yeah, I thought maybe they'll run the ball and just try and bleed some clock here and give it back to the Ruckel, Aiden O'Connell. Nope, we're going to fire one to Josh Palmer 50 yards down the field. It was a perfect throw, a heck of a catch. But that was, again, it's always like that. I don't even know if fans know what it's like to leave early. Like most NFL games, if you go to NFL games, you'll see it gets a little lopsided. They will get out of there quick, even more so than a college game. But they stay to the end out there.
They absolutely do. You have to. It was a very interesting week in week number 4 across the NFL. It started on the Thursday night with Detroit and Green Bay. And, you'd gotten kind of baited in, thinking, what, Green Bay hasn't missed a whole lot without Aaron Rodgers. And then they played the class of their division there. And you're like, okay, maybe Jordan Love isn't quite Aaron Rodgers.
It was the first time it looked a little fast for him. It looked like it sped up on him a little bit. And they got some pressure. And the offensive line did not play great. But they're playing so many young guys. Like you're a really, really young team. It's going to be a roller coaster. And even though the Lions are young, I mean, they have a ton of first, second-year players playing pivotal roles for them. Quarterback's a veteran. So that to me made a big difference. And that's also, there's something to be said for having just gone in that building at the end of the year and had success, that the kind of the aura, the Lambeau aura, which can be an issue for some young opponents going in there, they weren't really fazed by that.
Yeah. In London, it was a great day for Jacksonville, bad day for Atlanta. Our director of video here, Scott Forrester, said, I didn't watch it, but somebody please tell me the Toy Story Desmond Ritter is better than the real Desmond Ritter. I don't know that either one of them are playing well right now.
Oh, I literally just made me spill my water on top of me. Oh my gosh, that's funny. I still don't understand it. I was doing pregame show at an NFL Network, and it was on one of the TVs. And I've just been living under a rock, apparently. I didn't even know this was taking place.
Right.
So I just thought it was kind of bizarre that there was some adults watching like a cartoon while we had an NFL game going on. And then all of a sudden I was kind of hearing more about it. No, this is connected to the game. So I still don't know how it makes sense, but I guess it was a smashing success.
I guess so. I don't really know. The Ravens bounced back 28-3 division game against the Browns. And the way the Bengals, we'll couple this with a Bengals discussion. The Bengals discussion is coming up. Let's hold off on that until we get a little bit later. But the Ravens, after that loss to the Colts last week, bounced back in a big way on Sunday.
Yeah, and look, I could make a case that this was a good result for the Browns because DTR goes out there and lights it up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're financially committed to Deshaun Watson. That is guaranteed money. That is baseball, NBA money that is real, and you're not getting out of that. So then you're looking at Deshaun Watson. Every time he has a bad quarter, game, or moment, you're going like, wow, get the other guy in there. How long do we have to stick with this whole thing? Well, that didn't happen. Dorian Thompson-Robinson found out the difference between preseason and the regular season in the NFL, as Aiden O'Connell found out a little bit with the Raiders. It's just not the same. It's a different sport altogether. He had a bunch of turnovers, and they got kind of crushed by the Ravens. But I think in some ways, Deshaun Watson, he would never admit it, but might have a little sigh of relief there. Like, okay, I don't need to be looking over my shoulder at all. This is my gig.
The Sunday night game, the Chiefs and the Jets, 23-20. I'm told Taylor Swift was there. I don't know if that's accurate, but I was stunned at how close. I mean, don't look now, but Zach Wilson actually played pretty good football in that game.
Yeah, I didn't see it, so I watched the tape of it, the next morning. So it sounds like if you're maybe you don't want to get inundated with the booth shots of the sweet shots, I should say, of Taylor Swift, that I had the better viewing experience because I just
that is true.
Went through and watched the tape.
Yeah, the all 22 did not have Taylor Swift in it.
No, there was no cutaways in there in between the end zone cut and the sideline cut. But the interesting thing on Zach, I mean, he played much better, but there was a lot of meat left on the bone for him there. There was 2 or 3 throws where he didn't see something, where he had something there. So I think the exciting part is, okay, that's much better, but there's more out there. And a night where they didn't, they couldn't totally commit to the run game. They put more on him. I think in some ways it benefited him to just say, hey, like, stop with the don't make a mistake stuff. Just go out there and let it loose and play a little bit. And the Chiefs didn't look good. Offensively, they just weren't in rhythm, weren't in sync at all. The penalties, everybody kind of made that a big deal. To me, I actually thought it was a hold on I love Sauce Gardner. I love the Jets defense, but it was letter of the law was a hold on that one. So I understood that. But, the takeaway to me is Kansas City's defense is really, really good. And Zach Wilson, for a guy who just can't catch a break, here you want to breathe a sigh of relief, let Aaron Rodgers take over, kind of sit in the background and just calm everything down. Not only do you get thrown right in the mix, but then you look, I mean, they've played Buffalo, they've played Belichick, then they've played, then you've got the Cowboys, you've got this one, the Chiefs. I mean, these are all big time defenses or big time defensive minds. Like there's no gimme in there. I never has somebody been more happy to get to Denver than he is this next week.
We flipped from the Jets losing on Sunday night to the Giants getting destroyed on Monday Night Football. This is a bad football team. I mean, Daniel Jones is lost right now.
Yeah, they're not good up front at all, but he was holding the ball forever too. And I don't know. To me, it's such a quick journey, from genius to scapegoat in this league. I mean, because last year the conversation was, how do all these teams not hire Brian Daboll? Look at what he did. Look what he did with Josh Allen. Look what he's done with Daniel Jones. And it's also a little bit of a warning sign there of just, there's a reason why maybe there isn't a middle class of quarterbacks, because it's either you're going to pay him the big money or you're trying to find the next one who's worthy of being paid the big money. If you're having to talk yourself into that contract, usually that doesn't work out great. But Daniel Jones was not good last night, but they are not very good up front at all. It's going to make it hard on anybody.
Yeah, generally when you give up 11 sacks, you're not very good up front.
The funny thing is, if you go back and look at it, the Seahawks didn't really do much offensively. I mean, they got
they didn't.
Turnovers. I think they had under 300 yards of total offense.
Yeah. And if it's not bad enough for the Giants, their next 2 on the road at Miami Sunday, and then next Sunday night on the road at Buffalo. So good luck to you, Brian Daboll, with those 2 games. Yeah.
I mean, they're a miracle comeback against the Cardinals.
Oh, I know.
Really in trouble.
Yeah. If that Cardinals game had finished the way it started, this team would be so far off from a win right now.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they were down.
They'd be in the first pick conversation.
Yes, they were down 17-0 at one point in that Cardinals game. So you're right. That was a miracle comeback. It's the only reason they've even got a win this year.
No doubt.
All right, let's get to our first topic. It is DJ Football presented by MyBookie.ag. Code next round at MyBookie.ag. We're going to go to the late slate on Sunday when New England visited Dallas, and Mac Jones and that offense just had a horrible day. Defense wasn't much better. Either they get blown out. I know Bill Belichick hasn't Belichicked out. I know he's not checked out, but this looks like a broken franchise right now, and I don't know how you get it turned in the right direction.
So we've talked about this in previous weeks. I've kind of joked, but it's also true in that, like, whoever has to run the Patriots gift shop has the worst job in the league, because what are you selling? What does this team have to sell?
Who's your jersey? Yeah.
And I was sitting there looking at this, and you're going, okay, well, it needs kind of a reset. There's no foundational pieces. Mac Jones is not going to be your quarterback of the future. If they're ever going to get back to a championship level team, I just don't believe that Mac Jones is going to be the leader on that group. So you start there and you go, okay, well, what other assets might we have to try and, if we want to really kind of take this thing down and kind of rebuild it around some young guys and try and get some pillars, like what assets do we have? The best asset they have is their head coach. Yeah. Like, you could make a case. I think Shula's, I looked it up, is 347 is the record, right, for wins.
Mhm.
And Belichick, I believe, is what, 18, maybe 17 or 18 off of that. You
Yeah.
got to believe he doesn't want to retire until he runs that record down. But couldn't you make a case if you're a team that's got a quarterback and you're kind of ready to win right now, and maybe you need some defensive tweaks or things that need to take place there, that, hey, maybe in the offseason we see one of those coaching trades. We just saw Sean Payton. We saw that happen with him going to Denver, and there was compensation involved there. Maybe this is a way where everybody can kind of get resettled here, get Belichick a chance to go hunt down that record, chance to win a Super Bowl on a different roster, but then bring some picks and some assets back to the Patriots as they reset, try and rebuild, because this team's not very good.
And I've tried to think of that place for him, though, that landing spot for him. And there's not a super obvious one, because I'm like you. I don't think there's any way, if Bill Belichick were not the coach of the Patriots, that he would go coach somewhere where he doesn't think he can get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And to get to the Super Bowl, you got to have at least a top half quarterback, if not a top 10 quarterback. Those jobs just don't come open very often.
Look at your topic bar to the side of you right there.
So do you want to go ahead and go to number 2? Because I had something else on number 1. All right, let's.
No. You can do whatever you want, but I'm just saying you're trying to run it through your head of where could this possibly work, or how could this possibly fit. And I'm saying
he catches a lot of criticism, doesn't he? I mean, even when Cincinnati's good, he catches criticism.
I know. No, I like Zach. I think Zach's a good coach, but I'm just saying if that was something where they, the guy took him to a Super Bowl wasn't that long ago now. Now they are struggling, and we'll get into all the reasons they are. But if for some reason that was a change that was going to be made, and I would, look, I think they would give him control of everything that he wanted control over there.
Right. In that same division, Miami got blitzed by Buffalo, lost by 28. I will point out the Dolphins are averaging 45 points per game over the last 2 weeks. Unfortunately, it was 70-1 and 20 in the other, 20 not near enough in Buffalo. But Tony Romo in that game talked a lot about how Buffalo is running the ball so much better. You pointed out that McDermott has taken over the defensive signals.
Yeah.
If they're running it better and they're playing defense better because of McDermott, you already got Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs and some good tight ends. Boy, this team is going to be a handful in the AFC.
Yeah, they're playing great. And, I still think you look back on it, they probably more lost the opener than the Jets won it, just with the turnovers. Josh Allen just was careless with the ball. And maybe it's a good thing. Have that happen the first game of the year and kind of give him a little reset there and refocus him. And he's been lights out ever since. And, if you look at what they did defensively, I was went through that tape and I was like, what'd they do to Miami to try and slow this group down a little bit, who'd been so red hot? And one of the things really was the linebackers. To me, when you play against the Miami Dolphins, so much is off of run action, it's play action, it's RPOs, and all they're doing is just trying to get you to either freeze or take a step. And then they live in that intermediate passing game. So a lot of times say, okay, well, there's quarterbacks just like to get underneath, and there's quarterbacks like to get over the top. Tua lives more than any other quarterback in the league in the intermediate throws. And the way they do that is they create separation from your second and third levels. If they can get you to step up a little bit with the speed, you have to get the back end has to get the heck out of there.
Right.
So that creates all that space. And when Buffalo was disciplined about that, when their linebackers got depth and basically just said, you can throw underneath us on the first level, we're gonna rally and tackle, but we're not going to let you hit these little in breakers on the second level, hit these guys on the dead run at 12, 15 yards and let them go. They just eliminated that. Now there was still, you still had a handful plus of explosives. When I looked at it, it's because that second level got sucked up. But I really think that's kind of the key of trying to slow down this Miami offense.
Can other teams do that? I mean, is that the blueprint on Miami that now Mike McDaniel has to adjust, or is that more personnel that Buffalo's just got the personnel that can do it?
Well, they have they're very comfortable in zone. They have all eyes on the quarterback. They're very good at it. They don't get moved. They don't get manipulated by the quarterback. They're very disciplined that way. But yeah, every team can get linebackers. You can get nickel or dime and get athletes on that second level and just get out. Now, the answer to that is you run the ball, and they've been able to do that. And now, but it's just you're playing the Dolphins. Hey, I'd rather have them run for 200 than throw for 500. So we'll take our chances.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, but that Buffalo team, I come away from that, especially watching Kansas City this year, who seems like maybe they're just a step off. That Buffalo team's the best team in the AFC to me.
Yeah. No, they are. To me, though, Kansas City feels very much like Philly, where it's like just ugly win, just stack all these wins and let's get to the tournament. It's kind of it's weird to say it, but they still win these games. You're like, they're not even playing good, and they're going to not play good all the way to 13 or 14 wins.
Yeah. It is DJ Football. He's Daniel Jeremiah, the NFL Network, and you can go to mybookie.ag and play all the games we're talking about here. Mybookie.ag, code next round. When you sign on, you make that deposit. They've got a special bonus for those that use code next round. Win one time with it. It is yours forever. It's not one of those where you have to win 5, 6, 7 times. Mybookie.ag, code next round. Mybookie.ag, code next round. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with mybookie.ag. Also, Lance'sLive.com. LT has been red hot in football. He's up 12 units on football season right now. So you can get some plays there, especially with the Major League postseason starting all week long. You could get single-day packages, weekly packages, monthly packages, full season packages right there at Lance'sLive.com, Lance'sLive.com, and mybookie.ag, code next round. All right, really, Houday. I mean, who are these imposters that are in the Cincinnati Bengals uniforms? They get routed by a Tennessee team that has not been able to do anything offensively this year.
Yeah, I know, but it's really about their offense. I mean, when you're Cincinnati, you're an offensive built team. You're built to get out there and get a big lead, and then use your pass rush to to finish out games. They can't score, and to me, when you look at it's all connected. Burrow's calf injury, so he's not very mobile, can't really move. And then this is the wrong team with their interior pass rush with the Tennessee Titans, which is, you can make the case is the best in the NFL with what they can do up front with Simmons. I mean, he's a freak. So they just collapse the pocket down after down after down after down. And with Joe, one of the special traits that he's had going back to that final year at LSU is he is always eyes up. He never looks at the rush. And when you watch the tape of this one, you could see it. And I think some of it is because just the amount of pressure they're getting, but also knowing that he can't really use his legs to get away from any of this stuff. So it impacted him. And, they had some drops that it wasn't all on him, but with a very average to below average offensive line and not playing great. And then Joe's just inability to move. It's a recipe for disaster. And especially when you go up against a Tennessee front like that. I mean, they hit him down and down and down and down and down. And now you can see even with Jamar Chase after the game that, the frustration starting to build a little bit with this team. And 17 games is a long season, right? But man, they are digging one heck of a hole here.
They're digging a huge hole, and what they have next is at Arizona this week. The Cardinals have been anything but a gimme. I mean, it was a team that looked like maybe they're playing under Jonathan Gannon in his first year for the number 1 pick. They've done anything but play that way. I mean, this has been a team that almost beat Washington, did beat Dallas. That is not a layup. They host Seattle. We just saw Seattle's defense on Monday Night Football. Then they're at the 49ers, host the Bills. They host the Texans, the Ravens. I mean, they've got a difficult schedule ahead of them, already in a hole at 1-3. I don't know where you say, I don't know that they can dig out of this hole. They may already be there.
Well, I'll give you the positives though, because you listed off the schedule. At Arizona, even though they've been competitive, they can win.
It's a winnable game. Yep, winnable game. Yep.
And then the Seattle, as we talked about, the offense didn't really do anything, and it was really more so the Giants' offense imploding, which helped them win the game. I still think Seattle at home is a winnable game for Joe Burrow.
So now you're 3-3 if you want. Yeah.
So you're 3-3, which gets you to the bye, which gives you a time. Hopefully that's the necessary time to shut Burrow down, get him back to somewhat health. And then if you get a healthy Burrow, now I know it looks daunting with at San Francisco and Buffalo back to back, but having those two opponents off of that little rest period and being 500, you can see a formula where it's not too late. It's not too late yet. But, man, to me, they need to win these next 2 games.
And nobody has separated themselves in that division. In fact, just when you think Kenny Pickett had turned the corner a little bit for Pittsburgh,
a roller coaster.
Yeah, he gets banged up. They get drilled by Houston. Now, listen, Houston is a better than advertised team. And C.J. Stroud has played terrific football as a rookie. But that was a tough loss for Pittsburgh, and now you got a banged up Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, and the weird thing for me with the Steelers, you kind of always know who they are, however many games they're going to win. They're going to be over 500. We know that. And then it's just kind of how, what's the number above 500 they get to, up maybe 2 to 4. I don't know who this team is. Like they're not physical. They got their butts kicked by the Niners physically, just whooped. And then they go to Houston, who is Niners South, I guess you could say, with D'Amico Ryans going down there, and another physical team who's not nearly as talented, but they are physical. It beat the crap out of them too. So that's been odd to see them get beat up like that.
Indianapolis came storming back. We'll stay in that division with Houston because I want to ask you a Texans-related question. Indianapolis came storming back to force overtime, but the Rams gutted one out in overtime. Yeah. The Colts were down 23-0, but that entire division now is 2-2. Jacksonville was the favorite coming in. Who is the favorite right now from what you've seen through 4 games? Indianapolis, Houston, Jacksonville, and the Titans. Can Houston hang in there? I mean, the way.
Yeah, I don't see anybody going away. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to run away with it. I mean, I thought Jacksonville had the potential to do that before the season started, but look, they have a big one this week against Buffalo in London. I think that's a huge advantage. They've been over there. They've been over there for 2 weeks stay for them. Yeah. Buffalo has got to pop in there and try and play a game, but obviously they're playing well. I don't think there is a clear-cut favorite. I know one thing: Stroud's playing better than any of the quarterbacks in the division.
Isn't that awesome? Wild? Yeah, he's played better than Trevor Lawrence. If you had told me we're 4 weeks into the season,
by a lot,
and we're even having this discussion, I would have said you're crazy. But you're right; it's by a lot he is outplaying him.
No, his numbers are ridiculous. I was looking up some of the like the next gen stats numbers on him, and it's like, gosh, I want to say on third down. Like the expected completion percentage what was it? Yeah, it was like 86% or something. It's like he's been unbelievable. I think he still leads the league in completion percentage on third down at 73%. Yeah. When you factor in the drops, he should be at 86% on third down. For a rookie, are you kidding me? Like he's been much better than even I thought he would be. I thought he had a chance to be a really good player, but I did not think he would just jump right in like this and be this good. Doesn't turn the ball over either.
Yeah. What is D'Amico Ryans doing there that has made them this good of a team quickly? I mean, he has looked the part early on. There are a lot of head coaches, you watch him like, wow, this guy's learning on the job. I haven't felt that way about D'Amico Ryans yet.
Yeah, and I would say let's give D'Amico Ryans a lot of credit. He's done a great job in there, and they've added, it's a big draft. We talked about it, at the draft when picks were being made. They make that trade up for Will Anderson. It's like, okay, this is kind of it's a commitment draft. Like we've got our pillar player on offense and Stroud. Now we've got Will Anderson on defense. Tank Dell was brought in. They had a really good offseason in a lot of the moves they made in free agency as well. But I always feel like, Ryan, sometimes when you love up somebody for coming in and doing a job, it almost makes you wonder, like, how were they this bad with the previous group?
I know.
You know what I mean? Like, I think it's a combination. D'Amico's been great, but I think they also had underachieved, previously, because this team does not look like a team that had a first overall pick.
So are you telling me you think C.J. Stroud might be better than Davis Webb?
This close. What about Davis Mills?
Davis Mills. That's right.
Stanford,
Davis Mills.
Yeah.
It's a better joke if I got the name right.
Davis Webb, Cal. He was Texas Tech, Cal. A couple different schools coming out.
Better joke if I get the name right? Better joke.
Right. Well, let me know when you put the Panthers in the wrong division.
That's true. That's true. I don't work for the NFL Network.
He
is Daniel Jeremiah. He does work for the NFL Network. It is DJ Football. It is presented by MyBookie.ag. Code next round. When you sign up at MyBookie.ag, that initial deposit with code next round comes with a special bonus. Free money from MyBookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.ag. Code next round. Also, our apparel partner is Roback.com. You get those great golf shirts, the quarter zips, I'm working on it, the soft hoodie pullovers there. Roback.com, TNR20 at checkout, TNR20. And that gets you 20% off your initial order. We will have some in DJ's hands as quickly as possible.
I mean, I have plenty of hangers. I got lots of hangers.
All right, so open it. Are they
big
open?
Closet, right? It's a real big closet. The walk-in is really nice. Tons of room in there.
Okay. All right. We'll try to fill that thing up for you. Roback.com, code TNR20 at checkout. If you want to just buy it and not beg for it, like some people, TNR20 at checkout for 20% off your initial order. I can't tell you how long we've been pointing to, hey, week 5, 49ers Cowboys, week 5, 49ers Cowboys, Sunday night. Now, here we got it. 49ers look like the best team in the NFC. Aside from that little blip on the radar in Arizona, all the Cowboys have done is just blow their opponents off the map. This looks like a fun one Sunday night.
All right, can we do an impromptu exercise here real quick?
Please do.
If we're going to take both rosters.
Yep.
Okay.
We did this. Who did we do this with? Who did we do it with last week?
Oh, we compared them, but I'm going to do it different because we were just saying, would you take this one or that one?
Okay, gotcha. All right.
Let's just go. Let's say we're going to do a 3-on-3 3-on-3 tournament here.
Okay.
Basketball theme. So we'll have a draft. Any player you take it from either side.
Okay.
You have the first pick of these two rosters. Who's your pick?
Micah Parsons.
Okay.
Did I get that? Did I get that right?
So you got Micah.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, I'm going to go quarterback. But if you're just asking me for simply best player, Micah Parsons is the best player of the two.
Okay, and I'll take Bosa. Okay. So then you get the next pick. Again, you can go either side. Cowboys, Niners.
I am inclined to go either Deebo Samuel or Christian McCaffrey. My issue with Christian McCaffrey is injury, and he's got an injury history, but I'm going to ignore that and say Christian McCaffrey.
Okay, you're going to take C-Mac.
Yep.
And I'm going to take Trent Williams.
Okay. I feel like I'm at a disadvantage doing this against you.
Well, I mean, we're both doing this on the fly. There was no prep, no.
No. I mean, I want to.
There's a point I want to get to at the end of this exercise.
I want to say CD Lamb next, but I feel like I probably have overdrafted right there.
So you're going to go CD.
See, can you tell? I get enamored by the skill guys. You're going.
That's all good. That's all good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because I mean, we've still got a lot of really good players, but I would go Fred Warner with the next one.
Okay.
But my point that I wanted to make is, and we could have done this for 10 rounds, is that when you look at these and you say these are two talented teams and it's going to be a great matchup, I think if you were to list out the top 20 players in this game, I would say an overwhelming majority of them would be 49ers versus Cowboys.
Right. And I went with two Cowboys.
You took the two. You took the two. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Those are both. I mean, obviously, Micah being the first pick, I think a lot of people, and I wouldn't disagree with you on that. But my thing is, you kind of say, okay, it's the star power. It's Micah Parsons and Bosa, and all of a sudden you go CeeDee Lamb, and you go, but then the list just keeps going with the 49ers, and I don't think the Cowboys have that type of depth.
Well, and especially with the Trayvon Diggs injury, and I don't know, you've watched now a game of film of them playing without Trayvon Diggs. How has their defense changed without him?
Well, he just takes the ball away. It didn't matter last week because you can throw that one out the window. The week before it was an issue. So to me, when you step up in a game like this, where it's not just one guy you've got to worry about, when you go out there and you see Debo and you see, Ayuk, and you've got Juszczyk coming out of the backfield, and now you've got George Kittle. I mean, they have so many different guys, and C-Mac out of the backfield. Like, when you can play some zone coverage with him, let him use his eyes and drive on the ball. It's a big difference.
If you told me this is Brock Purdy's average game or Brock Purdy's game Sunday, I would believe either one. He was 20 of 21, 283, and a touchdown, no picks. I feel like I get pretty much that performance out of Brock Purdy every week. He's not going to go 20 of 21, but he's probably going to give me an efficient passing number, 220 to 290, touchdown and no picks.
Yeah, I was trying to think of who would be like the NBA equivalent, like what his stat line is. It feels like he's just like a 15 points a game, but he's got like 9 or 10 assists, 5 or 6 rebounds, just a very workmanlike, and it's every week, the exact same every week.
I know. And I keep waiting for it to implode. I keep waiting for him to hit that bump, and he's just not done it. I mean, maybe the kid is just not the guy that was the last guy in the draft. Maybe he's actually a really good quarterback.
Yeah, and again, I think that's fair to say. Sometimes we say, it was the absolute perfect player for the perfect scheme. They have an unbelievable offensive line, play caller, playmakers. It's perfect for him. Well, this is humming along better than it did with Garoppolo, and he would say he's the ultimate kind of system quarterback definition. It's just ridiculously efficient. My only concern with them is, I actually think the collision course is Niners Eagles. It's not the Cowboys. This is kind of like an appetizer before we get to the main course. And I think that I talked about the depth difference between the Niners and the Cowboys. I think the Eagles have more depth than the Niners. I mean, this is that's the difference.
Yeah. I was going to get to the Eagles next because they are at the Rams as these NFC teams make the West Coast journey there. And you mentioned it earlier. They're 4-0. Now they had to go to overtime, obviously, to beat Washington Sunday. They're 4-0, but it feels like they're just kind of, I can't remember how you described it. It's not pretty. So maybe a little ugly at times, but it's winning football, and it's 4-0 football. And if the 49ers aren't the best team in the NFC, it's probably the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we've got Halloween coming up before too long. I mean, they
Yep.
haven't given you any king size snacks in their
Nope.
bag here.
Nope.
It's just one little Reese's after another, just
That's
going
right.
house to
Edibles.
house here.
Yep, just the
Yeah,
mini size. Mini
yes,
size.
just the little guys, just the little ones. So, but I just feel like they know that this is it's a long run here. They want to make sure that they get to the point of the season where their best is required. It hasn't really been required, and they're still finding a way to stack up wins. So, I still feel like the second level of their defense. You've got a new defensive coordinator there in Sean Desai. I think they're still trying to figure out how to best use the personnel that they have. They did something last week, which was new, which is they're using their linebackers to kind of walk down and kind of mug up the center a little bit. There's so much attention goes to their front four because they're really, really talented. That now you see, I think they had 3 linebacker sacks. They had 5 sacks total in the game. 3 of them are from linebackers off the ball. So they're still figuring things out and dabbling with some different ideas.
If I was Washington in that game, though, and I was thinking about that Sunday, this drops them to 2-2. If they can find a way to win that game, a game they lost in overtime, they're 3-1. And listen to their next 3: hosting the Bears, at the Falcons, at the Giants. All eminently winnable games for them. But you just can't get that win. I mean, you would be at that point 3-1, and you would feel like I got a decent shot of being 6-1 through 7 games.
This is my favorite stat about them for this game coming up on Thursday night against the Bears. Sam Howell has been sacked 24 times, which is most in the league. Okay. Right. You'd be concerned about that if you're a Washington fan until you realize the Bears have 2 sacks on the season on defense. 2 sacks through 4 weeks.
What did the Bears do well? Give me something they do well. They stink well. But
I think they're. I mean, what's disguised it? And I know Justin's coming off his best game. I mean, 4 touchdowns. He played well last week. But even before last week, it was like all this attention on what's wrong with I'm like, are we gonna? Yeah. The defense is terrible. Like they have no difference makers. They're 31st in points allowed. 2 sacks on the season. Like they have no playmakers. 0. So it's a bad group. The question is, who all survives from this? Does Matt Eberflus survive through the year or into the offseason? I know one thing. If you think you might have an attractive job with the history of the Chicago Bears, when you have the 1st and 2nd pick, you got a really attractive job. Go get whoever the heck you want.
One other game this weekend that has an interesting storyline when the game itself might not be interesting because it's 2 1-3 teams is the Jets at the Broncos. We've got Nathaniel Hackett.
The Hackett Bowl.
Sean Payton, the Hackett Bowl. I didn't expect it to be 2 1-3 teams when Sean Payton said what he said in the offseason, but you got to think this one feels a little personal for the Jets.
Oh, I do. And it's just a sigh of relief, too. The defenses that they've played against, who we talked about a little bit earlier. I mean, this is it's definitely a step down here.
No doubt.
This Broncos defense, which has been surprisingly terrible. This was a team last year. At least the defense was good. Now the defense has been awful. And if not for a big time comeback last week against the Bears, they'd be staring at a winless record. But I think the Jets come out ready to roll in this one. You talk about being motivated, and I think that look, Sean Payton, he can he kind of stood by what he said. He's given a do-over. He didn't want that getting out. That was him getting way too comfortable with Jarrett Bell. And not realizing what that was going to create. But absolutely, you'll get a motivated Jets team. And a Jets team coming off of an emotional loss and a team that still feels like they're alive, even though they have the same record. And it's a gotta have it game.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt. And at least, as we said, it wasn't perfect for Zach Wilson, but he showed signs of life. I don't know that he can do it in back-to-back weeks. If I'm going to have to do it against anybody, I want to try it against the Broncos. That defense has not been good, like you said, but I really have doubts that Zach Wilson, A, can do it in back-to-back weeks, and B, can take it on the road.
Yeah, the good news is offensive line-wise, I think that they've got this group out there now getting to play a little bit more together with Becton at left tackle. Vera Tucker kicked out to right tackle. Joe Tippmann, the rookie, has played pretty well here in his first crack at it. So I think the offensive line's a little better. And if I'm not mistaken, I think this was the Breece Hall game where he tore his ACL last year, and Vera Tucker. Both those guys were lost for the year in that game. But I think Breece had like a 75-yard touchdown or something earlier in that game before he went down. So I think they can run the ball a little bit this week, take some of that heat off Zach.
All right, it is DJ Football. It is presented each week by MyBookie.ag. Code next round when you sign on to MyBookie.ag. He's about to tell us the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL right now as we do a ranking at the end of each show. MyBookie.ag gets you in the game. You can bet anything, anytime, anywhere. As I mentioned, code next round gets you that special bonus at sign on. You make your deposit, they give you a special bonus right there at MyBookie.ag. That is when you use code next round, MyBookie.ag, code next round. All right, we always start number 5. We'll do the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL right now. I'm curious if I just watched number 1 play on my TV on Sunday. Give me number 5.
All right, so there's a million different criteria for a quarterback list, so I feel like we always need to get that out there. So the way I did it is if we were playing a game tomorrow, based off what we've seen this year and knowing all things together, this is who my top 5 would be if we're playing a game tomorrow. So apologies to Joe Burrow. Hasn't gone great this year, so he's not going to make the list. So number 5 for me this year, we got to play a game tomorrow. I'll take Jalen Hurts from the Philadelphia Eagles.
Interesting. Guy that's got a lot of weapons, obviously, to throw to. He's a big physical runner. He's a tough guy. He never seems like that anything bothers him. And that's the way he was at Alabama, too. He's just unflappable. That's a guy that I think that's his personality. I don't know if that shows up on film. You were mentioning Burrow's got his eyes down looking at the pass rush right now. It looks like there's nothing you could throw at Hurts that gets him shook.
Yeah, no, he's got poise, and when his best is required, he's been pretty good in those clutch moments, big moments. He played great in the Super Bowl last year, but I'm just this year they haven't found their rhythm, but they still find their way to 30 points and win a ball game. So I would take him at number 5. Now, this is going to be controversial with number 4 because you can make a case he should be number 1 on this list, how he played up until last week. But again, the criteria, we got to go play a game tomorrow.
Right.
Tua comes in at number 4 for me on the list as my quarterback if we got to win a game tomorrow.
Yeah. Again, look, I watch every snap he plays every single year, and when they're on, they're better than anybody. But it is weird when they run up against those defenses. It just seems like once they get a couple stops, they know it's over. And they have a tough time digging. I don't know if it's a Mike McDaniel thing, a Tua thing. I don't know what it is, but it's like I say that, and they did have that comeback against Baltimore on the road last year, that huge comeback. But it just seems like the minute that offense gets mired down, it's difficult for them to adjust into another gear.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, again, these top 4, you could shuffle them around a little bit. I should say 2 through 4. You can shuffle them around. Again, this is probably recency bias, just because a big throw at the end of the game last week. I was there for the game. I know Tua outplayed Herbert the first time they met, but again, you tell me tomorrow I have to win a game, I'll still take Justin Herbert over Tua. So I have Herbert at number 3 on the list.
Yeah, all the tools, he can run.
Which he started doing the last 2 weeks. The first 2 weeks, the 2 losses, was very reluctant. The last 2 weeks, he's been much more aggressive with his legs.
He's such a big guy, too. Huge. I mean, I think he's faster than you think he is.
Oh, he ran 4.6s.
Yeah. So, I got no problem with this so far. So, we've got Hurts, Tua, and Justin Herbert, the first non-Alabama quarterback.
Yeah.
All right. So, number 2.
Number 2 on the list, again, I think 2 through 4, this year, game tomorrow, you could make a case, but I want Josh Allen number 2 on the list. It's hard. Look, Mahomes has not played his best, but if the criteria that you laid down, which I did on my own, which was I would just, if you had to go play a game tomorrow, how do you not take Mahomes? I would take Mahomes. When you're 3rd and 20 plus, he goes and runs, gets the first down. He just makes the winning play every single week.
Yeah, he really does. I got no problem with this. I personally, it's recency bias for me because I just watched Josh Allen pick my team apart.
Yeah.
That guy, and I guess to an extent, Mahomes is the same way at Arrowhead. But man, when you get Josh Allen in Buffalo, they are just almost impossible. It's almost impossible. It's like a college basketball team on their home court that likes to run. And it's like the old 40 minutes of hell Arkansas team, right? You'd get them on their home court, and it's just like you're not going to beat them there. And you go play Buffalo up there with Josh Allen, you're just not going to beat them there.
Yeah, no, the way he's played right now, at their best, Josh Allen's right there at the very top of the list. But, he did have the one clunker against the Jets.
He did.
Factored that in. But, I mean, if we got to go play a game tomorrow, man, I'd feel pretty good about any of those 5 guys.
I don't blame you at all. And Patrick Mahomes at the top of the list. All right.
By the way, because you sent me this and it said top 5 QBs. and nothing else. I mean, so I had Armani Edwards, Scott Satterfield trade. I didn't know if you wanted to do the top 5 App State quarterbacks of all time.
Yeah,
I didn't know. It wasn't specified. Yeah.
I like that Armani Edwards is clearly the top there, though. I mean, you win a game at the Big House, it's going to be almost impossible to unseat you from that top spot, right?
Yeah, I think he won 2 or 3 national championships too. So we'll factor
so
that in.
let's don't just focus on the one game that everybody watched, right? Yeah. All right. Hey, so it's a bye for the Chargers. What does DJ do on a bye Sunday? Do you watch Red Zone? You hit Sunday Ticket? What do you do?
You get talked into doing the Sunday night post game show on NFL Network. That's what you do.
Okay.
So a little bit. I don't have to be in there too early, but I'll be in there for I think it's Sunday night final.
Do you guys have a good green room? Like, do you hang out in the green room with craft services and watch all the games?
They do. It's kind of not the best sandwich in the world. Usually, food quality's a little shaky. So I might go morning games. I'll probably go morning games out here on the West Coast at home. Get in the car, listen to the more of some of the early afternoon games, and then you still got the Sunday nighter. So I'll be posted up, get a chance to see the whole Sunday night ball game, and then off we go. Which is right. That's the Cowboys Niners, right? Is that Sunday night?
Cowboys Niners. That's the NBC
good one. That's a great one. So that'll be fun.
Funny. Absolutely. All right. Well, mybookie.ag brings you the show. Don't forget, bet anything, anytime, anywhere with mybookie.ag. Major League Baseball postseason is there, college football games, NFL games, and you get a special bonus when you make your initial deposit with code NEXTROUND. Get that bonus at mybookie.ag, code NEXTROUND. All the games, Lance digs through them. Lance Taylor at lanceslock.com. He's plus 12 units right now in the NFL and college football together. So you can win with his plays at lanceslock.com. Single day, weekly, monthly, and season-long packages there as well. And don't forget our apparel provider is roback.com. From the golf shirts to the quarter zips to those soft hoodies that we're getting DJ, roback.com, code TNR20 for 20% off your initial order. All right. Try to relax some on the bye week. Have fun. We'll talk to you next week.
Look forward to it. Thanks, Ryan. See you, man.